My sister expected me to be her forever free babysitter, and my answer was breaking free from this toxic family. I'm 20. Growing up, I have been the invisible one in my family. My older sisters, Judy and Monica, were perfect in every way. Judy was the overachiever, always getting straight A's, the valedictorian, and later, a successful career woman with a marketing job that made our parents beam with pride. She married young, had twins by 28, and somehow managed to balance it all while climbing the corporate ladder. Monica was the artistic one, the free spirit with her talent in painting and photography. She was the one who got all the attention, all the praise, her work displayed prominently in our parents' house and local galleries. And then there was me, the quiet, reliable one. I was the one who kept my head down, did what was asked of me, and blended into the background. I was the one who watched Judy's twins when she had important meetings, who helped set up Monica's gallery showings without recognition, who became the family's safety net without ever being acknowledged for it. My childhood felt like a constant comparison to my sisters. Every achievement they had was celebrated with dinner parties and proud announcements. Judy's first promotion warranted a family gathering where Mom spent hours preparing her favorite dishes. Monica's first gallery showing had our parents inviting everyone they knew, beaming as they showed off her work. Meanwhile, my achievements gathered dust in drawers. When I won first place in the regional art competition, Mom merely nodded and asked if I could watch Judy's twins that weekend so she could attend a business conference. When I made honor roll consistently throughout high school, it was treated as expected rather than exceptional. Of course you did well, Mom would say, your sisters set the path for you. I didn't mind being the invisible one, or at least I thought I didn't. I convinced myself that it didn't matter, that someone had to be the reliable one, the steady one. But deep down, I always felt like I wasn't enough. I worked hard to earn my place in this family, taking on more and more responsibilities, especially after Judy had her twins. The twins, Emma and Ethan, became my unofficial responsibility from the moment they were born. Judy's career was taking off, and Mom made it clear that family helped family. So 3 days a week became 4, then 5. My senior year of high school became a juggling act between classes, art projects, and essentially being an unpaid nanny. You're so good with them, Mom would say, as if that justified the expectation that I would always be available. Judy needs to focus on her career, and you're not doing anything important anyway. Not doing anything important. Those words stung more than she knew. I was working on my portfolio, preparing applications for art schools, trying to build my own future. But in my family's eyes, that wasn't important, not compared to Judy's corporate success or Monica's established artistic career. I began to resent them for it, though I tried not to show it. I resented Judy for assuming I would always be available to watch her kids. I resented Monica for getting the artistic recognition I craved. Most of all, I resented my parents for never seeing me as anything more than the reliable backup plan. But I was determined to find my own path. I had my own dreams, my own aspirations. I wanted to be an artist, but not in the safe, conventional way Monica had chosen. I wanted to push boundaries, to express the emotions and experiences that had shaped me. I wanted to show the world who I was and what I could create. When I received the acceptance letter from the New York Academy of Arts, complete with a full scholarship, I felt like I was finally breaking free. The prestigious program had only accepted 15 students that year, and I was one of them. This was my chance to prove myself, to step out of the shadows of my sister's achievements. I had planned to surprise them during our family Thanksgiving dinner. I was nervous but excited. This was my big moment, the moment I would finally have my own page in the album, as my grandma used to say before she passed away. But when I sat down to share my news with my family, it felt like everything I had been building up to came crashing down. The dinner started like any other family gathering. Judy arrived late, immediately handing off the twins to me without even asking if I had plans. "They're overtired," she said, already pulling out her phone to check work emails. "Can you handle them while I talk to Mom about something important?" Important? Everything in Judy's life was important. Everything in my life was just an inconvenience to be worked around. Monica arrived next, full of excitement about her upcoming gallery showing. She'd been selected for a prestigious local exhibition, and Mom was already planning the guest list for the opening night. "You'll help set up, won't you, Maddie?" Mom asked, though it wasn't really a question. "You know how these events go, and we need everything to be perfect for your sister." I sat there watching them talk about their lives, their achievements, their plans. The acceptance letter felt heavy in my pocket, like a secret trying to burst free. I waited for a lull in the conversation, for any moment when they might actually listen. Finally, during dessert, I gathered my courage. "I got into the New York Academy of Arts," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. When no one seemed to hear, I said it again, louder this time. "I got accepted, full scholarship." The silence that followed was deafening. Judy didn't even look up from her phone. "That's nice, Maddie. You'll have to show us some of your stuff sometime," she said dismissively, as if I'd just mentioned taking a community art class. Monica gave me a small smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. I could see the thoughts crossing her face. Another artist in the family might divide attention, might complicate her position as the creative one. But it was Mom's response that shattered my hopes. She set down her fork, her expression a mixture of disapproval and concern. "New York, that's not practical. State University has a perfectly good art program and it's close to home. Besides, Judy needs help with the twins, especially now that she's up for another promotion." And there it was, the real reason she wanted me to stay. Not because state was better for me, not because she was concerned about my future, but because Judy needed a reliable babysitter. I was the family safety net, and they couldn't afford to let me go. "I got a full scholarship," I repeated, as if that might change their minds. "The program only accepts 15 students a year. It's one of the best in the country." "Honey," Mom said, using that patronizing tone she reserved for when she thought I was being difficult, "you need to think about what's best for the family. Your sisters both went to state and they've done wonderfully. Why make things harder on yourself? Besides, who will help with the twins if you're in New York?" The twins, always the twins, as if my entire future should revolve around my sister's children. "Maybe Judy could hire a nanny," I suggested, trying to keep my voice steady, "or put them in daycare like other working mothers do." Judy finally looked up from her phone, her expression incredulous. "Do you know how expensive that would be? Besides, they love their aunt. You wouldn't want to disappoint them, would you?" The guilt trip, the family specialty, but something inside me had snapped. Years of being overlooked, of being taken for granted, of being treated like the family's unpaid help, it all came pouring out. I stood up abruptly, knocking over my chair. "You know what? I'm tired of this. I'm tired of being treated like a family servant. I'm tired of my dreams being dismissed because they don't fit into your perfect plan. I got into one of the best art schools in the country, and none of you can even pretend to be happy for me." "Maddie," Mom started, but I cut her off. "No, I'm done. I'm done being the invisible one. I'm done being the reliable backup plan. I'm done watching Judy's kids while she builds her career. I'm done helping set up Monica's shows while my own art gets ignored. I'm done being what everyone else needs me to be." The room fell silent. Even the twins stopped playing with their desserts to stare at me. I had never raised my voice before, never stood up for myself like this. "I'm going to New York," I continued, my voice shaking but determined. "I'm going to accept the scholarship and I'm going to live my dream, and for once in my life I don't care if you approve or not." Mom's face flushed with anger. "You're being dramatic. You're throwing a tantrum because things didn't go your way. This isn't just about you, this is about family." "Family?" I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Family is supposed to support each other. Family is supposed to celebrate each other's achievements. When was the last time any of you came to one of my art shows? When was the last time you put one of my pieces on the wall next to Monica's? When was the last time you treated me like I mattered beyond being free childcare?" Judy stood up, her corporate mask cracking slightly. "That's not fair. We appreciate everything you do." "No, you appreciate everything I do for you. There's a difference." I grabbed my coat and walked out, ignoring Mom's calls to come back, ignoring Judy's protests about who would watch the twins, ignoring Monica's silence. I got in my car and drove, with no destination in mind, just needing to escape the suffocating weight of their expectations. As I drove, tears streaming down my face, I realized something important. I didn't need their approval anymore. I had spent so long trying to fit into their mold, trying to be what they wanted, that I had forgotten who I was. But my acceptance to the New York Academy of Arts wasn't just an escape, it was validation that I had value beyond being the family safety net. The next morning, I called the academy and accepted my place in the program. I started making arrangements for my move, found a tiny apartment in Brooklyn that I could barely afford, and began packing my life into boxes. With each item I packed, I felt lighter, freer. My phone was flooded with messages. Mom alternated between guilt trips and demands that I stop being selfish. Judy asked who would watch the twins, as if that was the only thing that mattered. Monica sent cautious texts about how hard it was to make it as an artist in New York. I ignored them all. I was done being the invisible daughter, the reliable sister, the convenient aunt. 2 months later, I stood in my tiny New York apartment, surrounded by blank canvases and possibilities. The city hummed outside my window, a constant reminder that I had broken free. My first assignment at the academy was a self-portrait, and as I stood before the canvas, brush in hand, I knew exactly what I wanted to paint. I painted myself as I had always been, transparent, barely there, surrounded by the bold, bright figures of my family. But in the painting, my transparent self was stepping forward, becoming solid, becoming real. It was both an ending and a beginning. The holidays came and went. I didn't go home despite the increasing pressure from my family. Instead, I spent Thanksgiving with other students, celebrating our dreams rather than hiding them. I spent Christmas exploring the city, finding beauty in being alone but not lonely. Judy hired a nanny, finally forced to acknowledge that her childcare needs weren't my responsibility. Mom still sends messages about how I'm breaking up the family, about how selfish I'm being. Monica, surprisingly, sent me a message recently saying she understands, though she doesn't have the courage to break free herself. But I don't regret my decision. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is disappoint the people you love in order to be true to yourself. Sometimes you have to become the villain in their story to become the hero on your own. I'm no longer the invisible daughter. I'm an artist, a student, a woman finding her way in the world. And for the first time in my life, when I look in the mirror, I don't see my sister's shadow. I see myself solid and real and finally completely visible.